I think people are sincerely underestimating the degree to which we are sleepwalking off a cliff. I think people fail to understand that slavery and tyranny, which is to say a lack of freedom, being under the thumb of dictators, is not the exception in history. It is the norm. Now let's think about the playbook for one moment. Let's just for one moment suspend disbelief. Let's do a little thought exercise. Imagine I wanted to enslave you. This is what I would do. If my family tree, so this plan doesn't have to happen in one generation, it can happen over multiple generations. Just pretend that we're a very, very wealthy family. We're very powerful and very influential. In fact, we are so powerful and so influential that we control so many media organizations. We sit on the board of directors of so many influential institutions in our nation, not only just in this nation, but across the Western world. The Western world. This is what I would do. I would slowly erode the men's ability to be men in their own homes. That'd be step number one. Well, you might be thinking, well, why would you do that? Well, if I was to invade a country, I'm not worried about the women and children. Why? It's because you get a million women together, and it's an inconvenience. You get a million men together, and that's like a full-scale war. A million's probably an exaggeration. 10,000 even. That's annoying, for women. But 10,000 men, that's a proper problem, So if I can erode the male's ability to be men in their own home, slowly they will lose their voice. If they lose their voice and they don't feel that they can speak up at home, they won't have that same courage in society, and they won't feel that they can resist something in society. You know what I'm saying? Do you know where I'm going with this? And then strategically, I'm going to attack masculinity itself, the idea of being a man, from multiple fronts simultaneously. And I'm going to sell a massive narrative about all the reasons why this makes sense. And everyone's going to believe it. And everyone's going to believe it is because I'm playing chess. And I'm playing chess. I'm just going to do one tiny nudge at a time, just 1 millimeter. And then if there's too much of a pushback, I'll pull back ever so slightly. And then I'll keep pushing, just slowly pushing down the line until I get to the finish line. Well, what's my end goal? My end goal is a population of males who do not have the capacity for physical resistance and free speech. Fundamentally, that would be my goal, my first two goals. Because if all dictators, all tyrannical regimes, they always attack the individual's ability to speak freely. No. Well, why would they do that? Well, if people can't talk about problems, how are they going to solve them? Do you see where I'm going with this? And if they can't resist physically, how are they going to oppose you? As a dictator, my goal is to reign unopposed. This is why so many political leaders just in dictatorial nations, in nations subjugated to tyranny, they just kill their political opponents. That's what Hitler did. That's what Mao did. That's what Stalin did. That's what they all do. And then also what I'm going to do is, with respect to attacking masculinity. So you see, when men and women, when there's a masculine man and a feminine woman, they have this synergy because she's like, you're the man, and he's like, I'm the man. And a man that thinks he's the man, that is one dangerous mother trucker, because that guy not only has people to die for, he thinks he's the man, and a man who thinks he's the man is one dangerous SOB because he's powerful. What's more dangerous than a powerful man, especially to tyrants? We are in a Very interesting time. By through the through the digitization of all of society, QR codes, for example, vaccine passports, by making everything digital again, not big steps, always one step at a time. Because if you go take a bit too big of a step, you'll alert the people, and if they alert the people, there'll be an immune system response, if you will, and they'll attack. So if you transition the entire world onto a digital infrastructure, you can control them completely. Central control. Like, it's, instead of trying to invade a nation, why not just install a puppet government that's loyal to you? What's the difference, really? Fundamentally, in both cases, you get complete control of the nation. Yes or no? And what really scares me about this is that most people are completely unaware. So, in my mind, unless there's significant resistance, we're fucked. We're truly fucked. And once you're a slave, good luck. Once everything's digital, good luck. What if the government makes it a law that you have to send one of your children, one of your daughters, has to be a daughter, to the local elite for re-education. And if you don't, it's life imprisonment. How are you going to resist? And you might be thinking, well, Dylan, that's pretty extreme. People have been put to death in tyrannical societies for eating grains of rice that were not sent to the central government. In North Korea, if you commit a political crime, which is to say speak out against a leader, they kill, trying to remember the exact stat here, I think it's 30 of generations of people. So people that didn't even know that they were related to you, didn't even know that you existed, get killed. That's a lot of people. These things exist. And if you don't think these things are possible, I'm sorry, but you're an idiot. Frankly, you are an idiot. This is why they hate masculinity so much, is because masculinity is the only thing that could mount any kind of resistance to oppression and tyranny. Why do you think feminism got promoted so much? Why? It's because it promotes women being men, and strong masculine women as beta males at best. I'm sorry. I don't care how strong the woman is. Most women are wired to not go against the grain of society, whereas men, it's almost like we are wired to go against the grain of society. But if you encode it in the social fabric that speaking out and going against the grain is taboo, and being competitive is taboo, then how are most men going to foster this? We are well and truly fucked. But rest assured, I would rather slit my own wrists and I would rather slit my own wrists and die than give in to these people. I refuse. Because you know why? Because I'd rather die upright than live on my knees. How could I look myself in the mirror knowing that I say things that I don't think are true, and I do things that I don't believe in and don't support? So many cowards around. Cowardice is just running rampant throughout society. People are just so nonchalant about it all. But there are people out there who see what's going on. Most of them are pretty smart as well. Free thinkers. The younger generation is so fundamentally brainwashed in every regard. They're just completely and utterly brainwashed. It's It's a problem. So I guess my ask to you today is, what are you going to do about it? Well, what I'm doing about it is that I'm surrounding myself with strong men, because at some point, shit's going to hit the fan. And I don't know when that is, but at some point, shit's going to get real. And when shit's going to get real, I want to be well connected with very strong men, intelligent men, and just men who are loyal to masculinity, who refuse to do things that are wrong just because everyone else is doing them. And you can identify these people really quickly, because the people who have refused to go along with things that they are morally incorrect, they're men like me. We're pretty obvious. We stand out, Easy spot. It's never too late to turn the ship around. It just requires individuals, the minds of individuals changing, because when a mind changes, the behavior changes. And then when that mind and behavior changes, it radiates out, rippling through the community, through the social fabric. We're all weaving a web, a social web, and we all have threads in our fingers. And all these threads intersect and connect. What are you going to do to stand up against evil and injustice and tyranny, oppression? If you don't, you have to know that this is your fight. This is your fight, because you should be more scared about not doing something than doing something. Why? Because the end result is a society where you have no freedom. People literally shed their blood. Literally shed their blood for freedom. And you're just going to roll over? How could you speak with your ancestors, if you could, and look them in the eye and say, we're sorry that so many tens of millions of people died during World War II. Sorry. Insanity. Well, I hope you all wake up, because if things go on the way that we're going, we're fucked, and you're going to become an eternal slave. Good night.